Hey guys, join me for this episode of the Be Better Off Show with Andrew Simmons, the founder and CEO of Vision Personal Training. They've got 58 sites across Australia and New Zealand. It's an absolutely fantastic success story in Australian business. We talk about how to be healthy, how to be wealthy, how to be wise, and make some time for some fun. That's what Being Better Off's all about. I hope you'll join us.
You're listening to the Be Better Off Show by Kelly Partners.
Welcome to the Be Better Off Show. It's fantastic to be here with Andrew Simmons, who's the founder and CEO of Vision Personal Training. Andrew's one of the leading figures in the Australian fitness industry and one of the absolute pioneers. His particular claim to fame, in my view, is scaling a personal training business. This amazing difference is that you get an actual person who cares about you that will make sure that you get your health goals. So welcome, Andrew. Thanks so much for coming.
Pleasure to be here, mate.
And full disclosure, I've been training with Vision for over 8 years. And Andrew's a very good friend of mine who's made a big difference in my life. So tell me, when did you start the business?
Mate, back in August 1999.
And were you married at the time?
No.
So you were still a single man?
Single man,
Yep. Start the business.
Yep.
So tell me the story. You started as an accountant, I hear.
Mate, I was a trainee accountant.
Didn't
accountant.
actually
qualify, mate. I call it the dark side. Funny enough, mate, the dark side. The dark side of my life, mate, working in a chartered accounting firm.
Yep. So you go there.
I happen to be sitting right now in a chartered accounting firm.
So it's in a chartered accounting firm, the circle of life.
That's right.
And so what happens? You're in a chartered firm. You don't really enjoy that.
Yep.
How do you end up in a personal training business?
I went to school to play sport, mate. That's all I did. Those things between 9 and 3 were like recovery sessions for me.
Yep.
So I really enjoyed playing sport all my life. So I figured I'm going to go back and pursue that passion. So 2 years in a chartered accounting firm, working full time, going to uni at night. Realised that when you spend your Saturday nights in a nightclub, in a layback chair, sculling drinks until 3 a.m, you realise probably not a good life to live.
Bad sign.
So I realised that I'm going to go back and pursue my passion. So went back and studied exercise science full time at the University of New South Wales. But figured that, I actually didn't mind the degree I was doing in accounting. Actually, it was quite interesting, but I really hated the work. So I figured I didn't want to have to go in the same road again and realise that actually I enjoy the study but don't like the work.
Yeah.
So I pretty much started in a gym down in the local area. I live in God's country, as you know, down the Shire. And I realised that...
Shout out to all those people in the Shire.
Correct.
Apparently it's God's country.
Yeah.
One of the champions of the area.
So I figured I'm going to go get a job in a gym. And I'll do anything just to get some experience. So unlike a lot of people these days, I didn't expect too much to start with. I thought I would do anything. So I worked on a reception desk. Little did I know, though, that working on a reception desk would be the smartest thing I could have done just to get to know everybody.
Yeah.
You're saying hello. I used to pride myself on saying hello to them before I swiped their card.
Yeah.
Right?
Get to know
their name and that sort of thing, right? So that was a good thing for me that I migrated through that. But I was pretty much working 20 to 30 hours a week in the gym whilst I was studying full time, right? So by the time I finished my science degree 3 years later, mate, I had all this experience in the gym, so becoming a personal trainer after that 3 years was just a no-brainer for me. Even though back then, when I finished my degree at the end of 1994, people asked me, what's a personal trainer?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. So here's somebody who's really pioneered a whole business category in Australia. You finished school, you're trying to tell people that a one-on-one trainer can make a difference.
Yeah.
How did you come to that realisation and make those, I guess, original engagements, original sales?
Mate, it was all about being sick of writing gym floor programs. So, of course, when you're actually working in a gym, often someone comes to you, they get a membership, you write them a program. So I was working as just a basic gym floor instructor.
Yeah.
So walking around the weights floor, for my second 2 years of uni, helping people with their programs.
Yeah.
But when you realise that you write a program and they go away and they think they're doing the right thing, but they actually aren't.
Yeah.
Like often, probably the biggest thing for me was someone had come to me at the end of their 12-week program having lifted the same weights in the last week of the program as they did in the first. And they think they've actually done a great job.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why they don't get results.
Yeah.
So really it was just a passion for actually helping people get results. So I remember my first client, Helen, she said to me, look, I need some ongoing help. So I sort of made up a number. I thought I'll charge her $25 an hour to help her. At the time, mate, that was double what I was actually making as a gym floor instructor. So I thought, I am killing it.
Yep.
You know, and then more and more people realised that they needed help, and I was passionate about helping them.
Yeah.
And because I was working as a aerobics instructor and circuit instructor at the time, I had a captive audience.
Yeah.
So when people started to know that I was personal training, it was actually quite easy in the gym to get clients.
So this is really interesting. I say to all the business owners we work with that you don't go into business for yourself, you go into business for other people. And if you don't have a great passion for helping other people get results, I fundamentally believe that you just won't have a business, let alone a great business. So it's very interesting to hear a founder's story where they found their, the kernel of the thing that they really motivates them and really have just done that. So you do 5 years of that, and then you decide to start Vision. How, where did a vision come from?
I think it was through the gym experience still. So I finished my degree at the end of 94. I start personal training at the start of 95. Yeah. I'm then working through the gym, working for myself. I'm paying rent to the gym. Yeah. But we were really fortunate that an organisation called Les Mills came into Australia at the end of 1995. And Pete, who was the owner of the gym at the time, had really good foresight into what was going on in the industry. So we happened to be the second gym in Australia to pick up this program called Body Pump. Yeah. Now, Body Pump being a choreographed weight training workout to music. Yeah. Right. So it wasn't seen before. Came from New Zealand of all places. Yeah. And which was awesome. And they basically introduced Les Mills to Australia with a great young group of people that happened to be really fit. They were actually triathletes. Like I actually was interested in racing triathlon at the time. Steve Renata, a guy that I met, he had a strong rugby background as well. So we sort of hit it off really quickly. And we started taking this program called Body Pump and then Body Attack around the country, teaching instructors how to teach it. And it grew so quickly, and I thought, this is structured exercise to music. Yeah. And I thought I had an opportunity back in about 1990, end of 96 or 97, to actually take the concept to the UK. And I was in negotiations to go to the UK, and I had to make a decision. Do I go and help them expand group fitness into the UK, or do I stay at home and try and adopt the same concept in systemising personal training in Australia? Yeah. So my inspiration came from
what was it that made you make that decision? Was it working, with a person that you could see the difference? Or, because again, with group training, there's a lot of people there. Some people come, they don't go. Maybe some people get a result and others don't.
Yeah, I think it was a passion for getting results. Yeah. Like I realised that, okay, I'm teaching often, unfortunately, and I don't say this proudly, but a lot of people do my classes and I wouldn't even know they were in there. Yeah. I'd go down to the cafe. Impersonal. Yeah, I'd go into the cafe and someone would say, "Oh, thanks for the class today, Andrew." And honestly think to myself, were you actually there? Yeah. Because you're teaching to sort of 30, 40, 50 people at times. Yeah. So it is that impersonal nature. But often what would happen is that clients would come in and you'd see the members, they come and exercise all the time, but not change their bodies at all. Yeah. Because they weren't taking care of their nutrition and all that other side. There's so many other aspects of health and fitness that weren't being taken care of by just teaching them exercise. Yeah. So I was passionate about the result. Hence, I really wanted to go, okay, I want to stick to personal training. Yeah,
and structure it in a way that you knew you could do it at scale. Yeah. So where was the first Vision gym?
Down in Caringbah. Yep. But that was literally through, that wasn't by choice at the time. Yep. When I was working through the club, which is called Club Physical at the time in Sylvania, that got bought out by a group called Healthland. Yep. A mob that came out from South Africa. They took over a whole bunch of gyms throughout Sydney. And then they decided, then they went broke and got taken over by Fitness First. Right. Now, Fitness First decided to change all the rules around personal training. Yeah. And at the time, we had probably 5 or 6 trainers, roughly. I can't remember exactly how many, but we had a whole bunch of trainers working with us at the time. And they changed the rules by saying, if a trainer leaves you, you can't replace them. Yeah, because they've all got to work under our umbrella.
So you knew the business was going to eventually disappear?
They're going to disappear.
So you go and take some space. So how daunting is that?
Well, mate, at the time, we were really inspired by a guy named Craig Harper out of Melbourne. Yeah. So this guy had Harper's Personal Training, 3 studios in Melbourne, doing 1,000 sessions a week across all 3. So Craig really gave us the impetus to go, like, wow, we can actually do this.
If he can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, and I was in business partnership with Jeff Jowett at the time. Yep. And honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I was probably with Jeff at the time, there's no way I would have taken that step to make the bold move out of fitness first, because that was my home for that 5-year period or 6-year period. Mate, that was my home. I treated that like it was my gym.
Yeah.
So to actually take that step by myself would have been, I reckon.
So lease some space,
lease some
buy
space,
some equipment, go into a bit of debt.
Well, mate, back then, because of the rumours around when Healthland went bust, they weren't lending any money to gyms.
No access to debt.
So I was literally taking money, like withdrawing money from my bank account and driving to gym auctions. I remember driving down to a gym in Wollongong.
So guys, this is fantastic information, you know. A lot of people say to me, to start a business, I need a lot of money. But most people have never bought a second-hand thing in their life. They wouldn't go and buy a second-hand piece of equipment to get started. They would say that, well, if I can't raise money from other people or get it from the bank, then, you know, what am I going to do? So you're driving around to auctions, buying bits of equipment.
Our first treadmill was my mother-in-law's treadmill from a house.
Fantastic.
Like, so
Absolutely
it was dodgy.
fantastic.
Mate, I remember having a TV set up. So we had the TV on a stand. It was one of those big, thick boxes set up, and the treadmill in front of it. Like, it was nothing like these plasmas on the wall or anything. You know, and I remember, unfortunately, watching September 11 unfold, standing there next to that tree. I still remember it vividly. Watching that unfold, September 11, watching the big box TV in the studio.
So you go, 99 you founded. How many studios did you have within 5 years, roughly?
Well, we opened our first franchise in 2004.
Yeah, great.
So,
and then how's it built up from there?
So 2004 opened the first one. Then we opened 7, 8 really quickly in the first few years, right, for us. When I say that, it probably took me 5 years to open 7, to be honest.
And so you're at 2009. So now how many do you have?
13, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then we grew sort of in that period between 8, 9, and 10, roughly, we grew to about 40 odd.
And how many do you have today?
58.
58. Great. So really in that 15-year period from 04 to 2020, you got to 58. What do you consider some of the big lessons around growth? You know, I get people every day say, hey, I want to go from 0 to hero in 3 minutes. You know, what have you learned around growing a sustainable business? And I would emphasize that this is a business that makes money, has positive cash flow, positive profits every day. There's a lot of what we see out there that isn't the case. So what are the big lessons for you?
Look, I think one of the biggest, I'm going to talk about mistake, I suppose, out of that, which obviously comes your lesson. I remember back in about 2009, about 2008, 2009, when we were going through that growth phase, we figured, okay, we're growing pretty well. I remember a business coach, and this will often struggle with business coaches, because business coaches try and stretch you to try and justify their worth, rather than think about what's right for your business. He actually said, this guy said to me, mate, if you could only be in business for the next 5 years, would you grow it any faster? And the answer was like, of course. You know, it's one of those loaded questions, right? And you said, well, what's stopping you now? So actually, it made me feel at the time like I was a loser because I wasn't growing fast enough. But what it did for me, which was not right, it took my focus on what made us successful. And we tried to grow externally rather than focus internally. So we tried to go and sell externally rather than realising we have this grow and go philosophy inside Vision, where we grow our existing trainers, and that's what grew. Like we've spent, like, literally from an external marketing point of view, we spent about $2,000 so far on external marketing.
Doing it internally.
But we do it all internally. We reward internally rather than trying to focus externally. So we tried to focus externally back then, which took us away from the processes that grew us originally internally.
This is a great point. You know, it is very difficult to have a good external situation for your clients unless the business is very robust internally. And so to go out, you want to go in to go out. There's a lot of people sort of putting a facade on rubbish. And if you want a sustainable business, then the internals need to, the systems and processes, you know, clear mission, clear values, clear systems and processes, clear strategy and structure to actually run this thing. Absolutely. So that's very, very interesting. And then your people, in terms of, you know, the thing that's driven the attractiveness of the model. How do you choose the best franchisees, the best people within your network to grow with?
What I realise now, it's about the people who've got the desire to grow trainers. and really grow trainers to help them.
Yeah.
Rather than focusing on themselves.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, like in a franchise network, it's really interesting. Like people ask me all the time, even the guys are asking me just before, how's business?
Yeah.
And I say it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's really shit.
Yeah.
Because that's the nature of franchising. It's the bell curve of franchising.
Yeah.
But when you're isolated, you actually bore down into what makes it really successful. It's the ones who really have a passion for growing their people.
Yeah.
That do really well.
Yeah.
And the ones that focus on themselves.
Yeah.
Are the ones who don't go so well. It's really that's linear. It really
it's
is
black and white.
Yeah.
So
and I really see that. Whereas that's what our business really is.
Yeah.
It's a people development business.
Yeah.
And we find still we've got some franchise owners who treat it like they are still personal trainers.
Yeah.
They're not business people.
Yeah.
And when I say business people are growing trainers rather than focus on the clients. Like as you always say, people process clients.
Yeah.
Got
to get your people right.
Yep.
Got to get the processes right. And if you do those two things, you'll get the clients right. It's very interesting. So as an owner, you're trying to do that for the clients. A lot of owners focus on themselves. They really need to be thinking about the difference they can make to the client.
Yep.
And they know internally if they are growing their people, then those people are the ones that will grow the business. It's counterintuitive. It's interesting.
And it's also right now for me, I've realised that if you haven't got a growing leader, you're not going to have a growing business.
No chance at all.
So that's what I'm doing now. I'm literally about to roll out a whole module. We would call it leading high performance teams.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it all starts with the leader.
Yeah.
And what do the leaders got? Have the leaders got direction, clarity themselves? Because as you know, if you've got someone who gets comfortable, that leads to complacency.
Yep.
And that's what we're finding now. Even like coronavirus, really interesting right now.
Yeah, this is very interesting. So now we've got coronavirus, we've got an external event, people are worried, hey, what's going to happen? I'm going to record a bit of a piece on it later today, but there's a great Warren Buffett insight where Buffett says, don't worry about the market. You can't control the stock market. You can't control the macroeconomic environment. You can't control coronavirus. But what you can control, then you better do in a world-class fashion better than anyone else in your industry and know that, if everyone's affected, you'll be affected the least. And so in a training business, they should understand that in that, they know that their business ultimately, you don't want an unfit guy trying to head a personal training business. They've got to start with themselves and get themselves moving. Yeah, it's absolutely really interesting. Hey guys, Andrew's been very generous to donate a very special prize. Now this has never been offered before. Check it out. What are we going to do for these people, Simo?
Mate, one-on-one consultation with me.
With the boss?
Start with.
A one-on-one consultation with the boss. Amazing. So you go, you see Andrew. He'll show you his system, how to assess where you are, get you a clear plan for where you want to go to, give you a personal copy of his book signed. The book is absolutely fantastic and has real insight in it. And then deploy you to either one of his gyms, or you can take that and try and do that yourself, which may not go too well. Have a great day.
For more details, check out the link in the podcast description.
So the guy's talking about the virus. What do they come to you as a franchise owner and say, hey, it's all hard, what are we going to do?
Well, I think that can happen at times. They're thinking doom, gloom, all that sort of thing. It's quite kind of interesting. Whereas you got to actually understand what is actually going and what's really going on, rather than looking at media hype.
Yeah.
And then focus on what they can do in their business to actually shore up their business.
Yeah.
And I think that's constant. As you know, you've been working hard on this, like there's a recession since your age of 22.
Yeah.
And I've been exactly the same. You just got to keep going all the time.
Yeah.
Because at some stage, whether the market shifts or whatever happens, like this event that's happening, that you can actually push yourself through it.
Yeah.
But I think it's all a mindset. And I think that's where a lot of people don't have their minds right, and they're very quick to try and look for external excuses or reasons why you can't, rather than reasons why you can.
So this is really interesting. So in terms of, for our listeners and the people watching this podcast, we work at Kelly Partners with people like you that own private businesses. I personally believe that everything starts with your mindset. Mm-hmm. How do you manage your mindset? You've got a big business, so there's 58 sites, so 58 franchise owners. How many employees, trainers are in that?
There's roughly 500.
So there's 500 trainers, and how many clients?
9,000.
So there's 9,000 clients. Yeah. So this is a big enterprise, a bunch of turnover, a lot of moving parts. But how do you keep your head right? You're married, fee, and the kids, 4 kids.
Yep.
So how what's the Andrew Simmons, keep your head straight?
Well, I think it's there's that great philosophy from Jim Rohn is work harder on yourself than you're doing your job.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you need to do is feed your mind with the things that are positive rather than feeding your mind with things that are negative.
Yeah. So control your focus.
Absolutely. But I think for me, it's always been about being goal orientated.
Yeah.
I know the times in my life where I have been comfortable.
Yeah.
That's when things haven't been right.
Yeah.
So I know that I need to, I suppose, and I focus all the time on success through succession.
Yeah.
And that is thinking about the next wave of people that are coming through that are going to build a success. Because I know that, hey, at some stage, things are going to go wrong.
Yeah.
But you've got to push through it. So, I think it's, I've always embraced that idea of the law of the lid.
Yeah.
You can only, the law of the lid would state that people only go to the level that you're at.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep pushing. So if you're a 7, then they'll always be a 5.
Yeah.
Well, you can't play at a 7.
So you can lift your team by lifting your own
yourself.
energy, your own attitude, your own performance.
Absolutely. So mate, I think I've been fortunate over the time that I've had probably the most stressful last 6 months of my life with a whole bunch of stuff, whether it's in the business and my father passing away and those sorts of things. And I realised what's actually got me through that is actually all the personal development stuff that I've done over the years.
Yeah.
And I've really drawn upon that to help me through. But if I realised if I didn't do that stuff and really work and read books and audios, and I love them, I get a great chance to actually spend a lot of time with whether it's Tony Robbins or John Maxwell or Jim Rohn in my car all the time. It's always playing in my car.
Yeah.
To actually just keep reinforcing what I need to, how I need to live.
It's a really great saying. Well, I think one of the motivational speakers says, somebody asked him, why do you do that motivation stuff all the time? And he said, well, it's like a shower. You should do it every day. So it's quite interesting that, I meet people and their moods seem to move around, but they're not doing anything consistently, I guess, to keep their mood up. So obviously, to get yourself fit for living and for your business, how do you make the time to do that?
I'm very much a creature of habit.
Yeah.
I'm very much known for that. People know that I'm very consistent in what I do.
Yeah. So when do you train?
Every morning.
Yeah.
So I'm
5
fortunate.
o'clock, 6 o'clock?
5 o'clock. Basically, I'm out of bed 4:45.
Yeah.
Each morning. It's between 4:45 and 5.
Yeah.
Each morning, and then my wife and Fiona and I, we train together, which actually really helps. The fact that we can spend that time together, but also we're doing something healthy. And there's times where someone might be tired, the other one goes, "Come on, we're going." So we're actually always working together to make sure that it gets done.
Yeah.
So
get
I
back
know
at 6. Get the kids moving to school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you've got 4 children.
Yes.
How do you manage the family time? So most business owners are under a lot of pressure with time.
Yep.
I certainly know that with 3 kids and life, getting time for the family. Have you got any rules around that?
Rules are, I'm not saying I'm always perfect, but it's actually having phone time. There's no phone time at certain times of the night.
Yeah.
I try to stick to that. I'm not saying I'm perfect for a second. I really value the time on the weekends.
Yeah.
With the kids, whether I get asked to present at different places, and I just know the weekends are gone. That's it.
Yeah.
Mate, I love my weekends with the kids. I think sometimes I can be. People talk about work-life balance.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that at times I'm perfectly imbalanced.
Yeah.
So what we do, and this is something that you always taught me, was make sure you book your holidays in.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in that. I go hard for those periods of time during the term, and then I always take time out for the family, always go away during school holiday periods.
Yeah, so look, for anyone watching, Andrew and I are good mates, and really the first principle I think to getting any of this right is these big rocks. So I say to people, book your holidays a year in advance, book the school holidays, and understand that will give you some structured time. So even if you get pushed between times that you're a bit out of balance, that you're very much reconnected with your kids. Good mate of mine said that, one thing your kids will remember about their childhood is your holidays. Whereas I remember my childhood, and I don't really remember the school terms. I think he was really right. I sort of remember some of the things of sport and whatnot, but a typical school week, I don't remember that much about them, but I do remember the holidays, the time we spent together as a family. So book your holidays a year in advance, and that will create an expectation and anticipation of time together, which is helpful.
And I know that I know in myself that if I stay at home, I will work.
Absolutely.
I'll just fall into the work mode.
No question.
I know that about myself, so I realise that I need to take out time.
Yeah, change the place.
Yep. in each school high. So that's probably the biggest thing. So I totally agree that kids love that time.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't mean you have to do something, you know, go overseas and do that sort of stuff, but it's just literally time away from the normal routine to actually break and lock yourself in with the family is really important.
Great. And then with I guess making financial progress, what has been your experience over that time? You start the business, you're very busy, long-term planning, long-term goals. How do you think about getting a return as an owner?
Mate, funny enough, it's one of those things. I've always done it for the achievement.
Yeah,
I'm a massive achiever.
Yeah.
Funny enough, financially, even though I know that money is actually important, it's never been a driver. Yeah. Real big driver
just
for me.
Just an outcome.
It's just an outcome of actually what you do. So, and whilst I might seem counterintuitive, and people might say, you know, as if that's right, I go, no, I love money.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love money, but I love money from the fact that it can provide better service.
Yeah.
That's the key for me. I know that, you know, people talk to me all the time. I always have these goals of, you know, driving an Aston Martin, right?
Yep.
Saw the Aston Martin, the James Bond movie.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
Great.
But then as time's gone by, I've realised for me, if I go for a drive in an Aston Martin, it's probably enough for me. I don't need to have the Aston Martin to actually be satisfied with that.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I've realised, you know, I had a big goal to build my dream house.
Yep.
You know, I had that goal since I was like in my early 20s.
Yeah.
You know, and I've done that.
Yeah.
You know, so outside of that now, I really realise, hey, I'd like to go on nice holidays with the kids and take them away.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's about trying to now, what can I do? How can I make money to provide better service for clients?
Yeah.
You know, in every world, especially around tech, you know, the need to make money has actually never more apparent because tech costs so much money to build.
Yeah.
You know, so that's for me, it's always been a driver around building better tech.
Yeah.
You know, for us. But in terms of retirement stuff, I've never had a retirement plan.
Yeah.
People ask me, when are you going to sell? I just don't understand that question.
Yeah.
Because
it's very interesting. That's a really interesting point because Andrew and I have spoken about it a lot. I get asked all the time, so you built this business, aren't you just going to sell it? And I'm like, I actually love what I do. And so, sure, if I sold the business, problem would be the next day I'd be doing what I do, which is I like to help people, and my particular skills are helping with their money, yours are helping with their fitness. It seems to be this sort of modern mentality, which is a bit odd. Yeah.
Well, what I do know is that when I've actually got financial goals, and obviously you've been a massive driver of this, when I know that I'm actually more focused. Yeah. You know, and have that clarity. Yeah. You know, I think that's otherwise if you haven't got the goals of that in every aspect of your life. Yeah. How you know if you get there, and will you ever get there, right? So that's always been a big push as well. But at the same time, I'm not so much worried about that because I don't have a plan to retire. Yeah. I'm not exactly standing there going, well, I have to make X amount of money by a certain date because I know I've got a philosophy that when you retire, you die.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And whether it's you don't necessarily have to die physically, but you probably die intellectually and emotionally and all that sort of stuff. And I never want to feel like that.
Yeah. So if you have a job, I can understand that you might want to, and you don't like it, you might want to stop doing it. Or if you have a business that you built simply to make some money, I don't generally see that go very well. You might want to sell it. Yeah. But if you have a passion to help people, I guess it's a good vehicle to do that.
And I think that came through, really, Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, was the thing that solidified that for me. Yeah. You know, start with why, focus on, you know, what is your why? Yeah. You know, and my why, and it's really he has, you know, basically we had a business why, we build communities transforming people's lives. Yeah. That's what our vision why is. Yeah. But for me, it is to inspire people to lead healthy, fulfilled lives. Yeah. I live that every day. Yeah. And I figured if I sold my business, well, I'm not going to have the opportunity to continue to live my why. So what's the point?
Yeah, it's a really great way of thinking about it. So financially, you're organised. You're doing your healthy. You're doing your wealthy. You're doing your reading and your study and trying to get around people. I know you're a YPO member and you do plenty of learning and development. What do you do for fun? What's fun?
Mate, fun for me. I enjoy playing golf. Yeah, you know, and I don't play enough of that, which is interesting.
So I've added this category to healthy, wealthy, and wise because I noticed that a lot of our business owners, we're all guilty of it. There's things we really find fun and we just forget to do them. Yeah. Absolutely. So for you, golf?
Yeah, golf is fun. Mate, I love training. Yeah. I just love getting out. I mean, I love spending time. I run sandhills every Sunday. Yeah. You know, as part of this that exercising component.
Sandhill Sundays. Do you have a day off exercising or exercise 7 days?
I tend to I tend to exercise every day.
Yeah.
I just think it's really great for my mind. If I wake up in the morning and I haven't exercised, it's like the drug. I love giving myself a hit of those endorphins and adrenaline and oxytocin and dopamine and all that things that happen through exercise.
Yeah.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
Just because I've got all the different pressures of life, that actually centers me.
So if there was a motto, quote, or thought that best summarizes your approach to life, what would it be?
Live with passion.
Live with passion. There you go. So look, I really want to thank Andrew for joining us today. It's just a short amount of time, but I hope that you've got some really great lessons from this time we've spent together. The Be Better Off show is about helping you be better off. And that means healthy, wealthy, wise, and don't forget to have some fun. I really want to thank Andrew. He's been a massive inspiration in my life. I think his business is absolutely outstanding. It can make a real difference to you. Look him up. I know that he's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, he might even be on Twitter. We'll share that with you and we'll share a download. So Simo, we've got a little present for you. Floyd the Lion. Here's a little present for you. You can take home, give to one of the kids. This is our thank you from Kelly Partners for being a guest today on the Be Better Off show.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Make sure you give it to one of the kids. Don't keep it for yourself.
I've got to work out which one.
Exactly. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Be Better Off show. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to rate and review on Apple Podcasts.
Have a great day.